Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all my students. So for today's lesson, we are going to look at chapter 6, which is Introduction to Bibliographic Control for Specific Material. Okay, based on our previous discussion class, bibliographic control is the process by which information resources are described so that they are easily accessible for users. Okay, in other words class, bibliographic control ni is the identification, is the description and classifications of materials of communication so that they may be effectively organized, stored, retrieved, and used when needed. Okay, and how about specific material, class? Specific material is the material that is difficult to control ataupun difficult to do the bibliographic control. Okay, so the next slide will be discussing about these specific materials and the examples of specific materials. This slide is discussing about specific materials. What is specific materials? Specific materials is a genuine. Okay, genuine meaning that it is an authentic, original, truly what something is said to be. Okay, and it is not easy to use, class, and subject to various obstacles, restrictions, and constraints not encountered elsewhere. Okay, and this specific materials, class, is difficult to acquire and not normally available in bookstore. For example, among the examples of specific materials, patterns, standards, so dia tak ada jual dekat bookstore, guys. And these specific materials control through bibliographic activities to make the bibliographic data of these materials available and transparent to users, meaning that the users easy to perceive or detect and obvious to the users. This is the first type of specific materials, class, which is government publication. And government publication is a document prepared for government or prepared by a government agency, which is published and distributed for public information, and it is on the government expenses. Segala percetakan kita print semua tu at government expenses lah. Okay, these are the three types of government publication. The first one is circulating letters, memorandum, and contract. Okay, and of course we have more than these three types of government publication. For example, we have rules, law, what else? Pamphlet. Okay, but for this particular slides, we only focus on the three types of government publication. Okay, the first one is circulating letters. Circulating letters is perkeliling, guys. Perkeliling akta, perkeliling, and so forth. So this under this perkeliling, it is information for the public information. Okay, circulating letters about the PKP, so these are among the examples. Next we have a memorandum. So this memorandum, class, is a memo. Okay, when we talk about memo, class, is a written message. It is a document recording the terms of a contract, for example, and other legal details. And this memorandum is also a note, recording something for future. For example, in Malaysia we have reforming political financing memorandum. So this memorandum, class, is addressed to the Prime Ministers of Malaysia. So kita hantar this memorandum reforming political financing to Prime Minister untuk baca. Okay, why reforming political financing ni is important to Malaysia. Okay, reforming tu maksudnya make changes lah on the political financing. Political financing tu cover all funds that are raised and spent for political purposes. Okay, itu contoh kelas ya. And the next we have a contract. Contract is a written or spoken agreement intended to be enforceable by law. Okay, for example, we have government tenders. Okay, so these are the examples of contract. Next, we have our thesis and dissertation. So this thesis and dissertation is prepared by postgraduate students. So who is postgraduate students? Postgraduate students is students that have master and PhD. So in order to complete their master and PhD class, they need to do research work or experimental investigations on something. Apa-apa saja. Okay, so for myself class, I'm doing research, thesis and dissertations on school resource center. Okay, so this is just an example lah. And this quality of a thesis is given greater emphasis, and students are awarded with master PhD when they successfully ataupun completed the research. And after you completed the research and you awarded with master and PhD class, this thesis ni will be kept in a library. Okay, and it will be summarized as a dissertation abstract class, okay. And this thesis and dissertation ni kalau nak buat, we have a certain format. Okay, and this format class is the 5 major chapters of a thesis lah. For example, you need to have the chapter 1, which is introduction, chapter 2, review of related literature, design and methodology, findings, and the last one is conclusion. Okay, and when we talk about abstract class, dissertation abstract, it is concisely reports the aims and outcomes of your research so that the readers know exactly what the paper is all about. Okay, so the abstract is just a summarization of the whole thesis and dissertation. Okay. Next, we have translation class. Translation is the interpretation of the meaning of a text in one language and the production in another language. Okay, this translation must take into account a number of constraints, including context, the rules of grammar of the two languages, their writing conventions, their idioms, and the like. So as you can see from this slide class here, these are the examples, one of the examples of translations. We have introduction to Spanish translation. So meaning that you translate bahasa tu ke bahasa yang lain. Conference paper class is a working paper written by a seminar paper presenter. Okay, let's say you are master and PhD holder kan. Therefore, part and parcels of your thesis and dissertations tu, you boleh buat conference paper and you can present your paper tu in a conference. Okay, so a conference paper ni is a paper lah, is a working paper, and a conference tu is a venue, right? So a conference paper refers to articles that are written with the goal of being accepted to a conference. So this conference kan typically an annual venue, kita buat setahun sekali with a specific scope where you can present your results to the community. And basically kan this conference paper ni, you can present it as an oral presentation, or you can present it as a poster presentation, okay, or you can present it in a table discussion form. Okay, and this conference paper ni, it is an important primary source. Why it is important primary source? Because it is the original work from the writer. Dia tak ada plagiat, dia tak ada tiru mana-mana. Okay, which is produced by an expert or specialist in one field. Next, we have patents. It is a set of exclusive right granted by a state to an inventor, and this exclusive right is a maximum of 20 years. Okay, and within these 20 years class, the third party cannot copy your design. Okay, in Malaysia class, in order to register your product tu, in order to register your design tu, to get the patent, you need to register through my IPO. My IPO is the Intellectual Property Corporations of Malaysia, and this organization is responsible in registrating the users to get the patent. As you can see from this slide class, this is one of the examples of design that need to be patented. Okay, for example, if you have designed on face mask, you can patent it in order to avoid others to copy your design. So if your face mask is patented, class, nobody can copy your design. If they copy your design, class, they will face what we call as a patents infringement, meaning that the action of breaking the terms of law, agreement, and violations towards your design, dan dia akan kena saman. As you can see from this slide, class, this is one of the examples of innovation that is patented, and once the product or once the design is patented, therefore nobody can copy the design. Okay, this is one example. Other examples to protect or to get the patents, it can be such as novels, paintings, music, photography, software, films, and so on. So in order the designs to be patented, it must be new, meaning that it must be a new idea, new sketch of ideas, and there are inventive steps, must be industrial applicable. We need to have a patent for our design, for our ideas, because to avoid people to copy our design, okay, to prevent the copyright infringement on individual creativity and discoveries by exclusive organization. And in order to register your patent, you can go to the My IPO, Intellectual Property Corporation of Malaysia, and this organization also can giving advice pertaining to patents, pertaining to intellectual properties, and so forth. As you can see from this slide, class, this is the agency that is responsible in registration of patents, in giving patents. Next, we have a standard. Standard is an established measure of quantity and quality, a precise statement of criteria necessary to ensure that a product, material, or procedure is fit for the purpose for which it intended. Okay, so when we talk about standard, it is about the standardization. Okay, so every product that you produce, every material that you produce, every procedure that you produce, must have the standardization. Okay, examples, for example of a standard ni yang you tengok MS, ISO, all the ISO tu. So this ISO ni is the examples of standard. Okay, let's say we take one examples of product, guys, katakan gardenia. Okay, so if they want to produce a quality product, therefore they need to have the standard. They need to have the standardized measurement of quantity and quality. Okay, sebab tu roti tu, rasa roti tu sama je daripada dulu sampai sekarang, because they have the standard, guys. Right? Alright, let's take another examples in automobile industry. For example, cars. Before you intended to market your cars outside of Malaysia, katakan Proton, Pro 2, before they intended to market their cars to international market, they need to have a methods of testing. Okay, they need to test the car, test the performance, and based on the requirement and code of practice, meaning that based on the standard. Okay, so this is what we call as a standard. The best part of standard class, it simplifies, memudahkan the production. Okay, and by having the standard class, we will achieve the uniformity, kesamaan antara kilang ni dengan kilang tu, for example. We will achieve the reliability. Okay, we will achieve the safety. And this standard class it is easy to use because it is not lengthy document, bukannya panjang, and it is just a pamphlet of few pages, and in this pamphlet consists of or provide information regarding the method, the measurement, definition, properties, and processes. As you can see from this slide class, these are the three purposes of standard. Okay, the first one is to standardize, meaning that you will get the uniformity, kesamaan, for each of the manufacturing processes. And then by having the standard class, it will set the quality. Okay, the quality and the services for each of the manufacturing process, or manufacturer. And the last one is it is good for new employees to have this standard, because by having this standard, the new employees will read the procedures for testing, how to produce quality goods, and so on. Okay, next, if you want to register for the standardization, you need to seek the Department of Standard Malaysia. For example, the Standards Malaysia ni di bawah responsibility of Ministry of International Trade and Industry meeting. Okay, so they will provide the standards. They will check the standards of each of the manufacturer, and by having the standard class, Department of Standard Malaysia is to provide the confidence to various stakeholders through credible standardizations and accreditation service for global competitiveness. Next, we have a technical reports. This report class is a documents that describe the progress or results of technical or scientific research, or the states of technical or scientific research problem. And usually this technical reports is written, is produced by engineers, a group of engineers or technical departments, and these technical reports is become a major source of scientific and technical information. For example, if you can see from this slide, it is the technical reports on a car. Okay, so what is the measurement of this car, what is the overall length, what is supposed to be the length of a car, so it is included in the technical reports. Okay, and this technical report can be used within the distribution, within the organization, ataupun it can be wider distribution. Okay, let's say if you have partner, if you have a collaboration with international cars company, then they will give the technical reports to you. Okay, so that if you confront with any problems or difficulties pertaining to the measurement of a car, you can always look at the technical reports. Audiovisual materials, AV, is also considered as a specific materials class. These audiovisual materials refer to works, a sound and visual component, the production or use of such works, or the equipment involved in presenting works. Okay, movies and television shows are examples of audiovisual presentations. Okay, apa-apa yang associate with audio-visual material tu is considered as a specific materials. The last specific materials is grey literature. This grey literature is also called as non-conventional literature. Okay, meaning that this grey literature is a traditional. It's a traditional of literature, and it consists of scientific and technical reports. We have working papers, research reports, okay, and conference proceeding, thesis, and etc. This grey literature class is a half or unpublished information that is not produced by commercial publisher. Okay, so meaning that this grey literature class is not controlled by commercial publisher. It is not owned ataupun it cannot be distributing for sale from the commercial publisher. You know what is commercial publisher, guys? Commercial publisher ni is an entity that the core business of this commercial publisher is producing books, and distributing them for sale. As you can see from this slide, these are two examples of grey literature. We have grey literature in library and information studies, and we have grey literature regarding the government alliance. Okay, so if you want to look more deeper into this grey literature, you can Google it. From the Google, you can find the grey literature on the website.